Right back at you on game night for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, Jake the Snake Schultz with you for the next 2 hours. We're live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus. Toronto Maple Leafs, Craig Berube, former team in town, the St. Louis Blues. Little redemption, not only for getting fired, but a horrible loss earlier this week for his current team.
Now, is he going to be at the Kentucky Derby with you, or what is Bob Baffert going with you?
Okay, do you feel like my blazer reflects someone about to watch a horse race?
It looks like an old-timey, like colonial-era gentleman. I love it. For the record, I absolutely love that coat. I would wear that in a heartbeat.
You look great, bud.
Yeah. You're one of the match tonight, aren't you?
Another Blue Industry special right here.
Your
I got to set you
must
up with
be
this.
Kicking you out of the house more than ever lately. Hey, you're going every game.
Well, listen, they may need my help tonight.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Do you think, Sammy, they could use some help, or is it just a hiccup the other night against Columbus, and we'll see more of what we saw at the beginning of the week versus the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Oh, that's actually a phrase.
You know what that is?
Not for our show.
You know what that was? You know what time was tell?
Nervous.
Yeah, I haven't got a clue.
No,
and I'm scared.
Here's what I'll say.
That's what he's saying.
Can't we do sports talk radio and go, we'll see?
I'm scared to say so because I'm scared to embarrass myself.
Here's what I'll say. If they are the same old Leafs, they'll win tonight resoundingly.
So will they convince you they're not by losing?
So if they lose, maybe they're the new Leafs. I've really twisted myself.
At a time will tell.
I will say,
Habits take time to break.
Tuesday really twisted my brain into a knot.
Yeah.
Did not see that one coming. So
it was confounding.
It's going to be really interesting to see tonight.
Where are you?
Time will
because we had yesterday's show, and I think we were all in agreement that the loss to Columbus wasn't necessarily a indication of what we saw earlier being this facade.
Mm-hmm.
But how important is it that it's a good show tonight? And if they don't get on track tonight, is that put more emphasis on something still fundamentally wrong here?
Well, it does. But to me, you have the chance to isolate Columbus and call it a one-off and say, outside that game, we've been this or we've changed this. You can see we're different. We had that one night, but if you're bad tonight, it's like this was a crucial night for Craig Berube, right? It's important to him.
Oh, yeah.
It's a crucial night to show that you were different. If they're bad tonight in what seems to be a very obvious we need a night moment, then I think we can start drawing out some bigger things from it, which would be concern.
Well, if it's so important, why are they starting the backup goalie?
Oh, he did it. Joseph Woll, the backup goalie for the Toronto Maple Leafs, getting a nod with 10% of the season behind us almost.
Do you want to go to Craig Berube first or comment first?
Let's go to Craig Berube.
All right,
Hear what he has to say.
On Joseph Woll.
He's been obviously progressing in the right direction for some time now, and we kind of had this date picked out that he would get this start. It's just basically making sure he's ready, comfortable. Everybody's on board with him, ready to go, and this is where we picked.
They picked. What does that mean? Like, isn't it like you just
know what
rehab
it means?
so you're ready and then you play?
It means they've got a master plan. That's what it means.
I hate that. That sounds very overcooked.
So, you know where I stood.
The plan.
And I had a different plan than you, Craig.
Yeah.
And you heard mine yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone right back to Stolar's.
Mm-hmm.
And barring a Hildeby kind of meltdown, I had him starting Saturday night versus the Boston Bruins. So where are you on Joseph Woll?
I am that of the camp that if he's ready to go and he was supposed to be 1A, he's the younger guy, he's got more years in his contract for more dollars, get him in as soon as you can. Let's get started. Let's figure out what he's got. Let's see if he's ready. Guys, he didn't tear his groin. He had tightness.
I have no problem with that, except I've watched Stolarz get shot out of a cannon.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
what were your stats on his goals? He's given up 1, 2, 2, 1.
No, he's given up 1 in the first game and 2 in every other start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
you're going to win a lot of games.
You're taking
you end up in the Hall of Fame if you do that your whole career.
You're taking the hottest goaltender out of 32 teams and putting him on the shelf.
Yeah. Preach it, buddy. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. He sold me.
It's bad sports radio, but agree.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. You know, there are, over the past 3 or 4 years, sorry, Kim, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Okay.
Over the past 3 or 4 years, he's right there in goals saved with Hellebuck, Shesterkin, and one other guy.
Looks glorious.
Like, per game, he's been one of the best goalies. I know we don't know how many he can play, but he's been good.
The other thing that bothers me as well is that I'm thinking the game versus Columbus, where you had ample reason to pull Hildeby, Beast, because you're protecting Stolarz for Thursday night. Didn't happen. I'm like, if you had this master plan all along and you knew Joseph Woll was going to start Thursday, why don't you halfway through at 3-0 get that kid out and still give your team a chance to win in Columbus?
You're absolutely right, because this totally changes the perspective of that game. Not one of us came in the next day and said, how didn't you get Hill to be out of there?
Yeah.
He was clearly off, clearly not ready. He was bad from the jump. At 2-0, but at least 3-0 for sure, you could have gone, okay, we need to get some stability in net and put Stolarz in. But the idea, and all of us agreed, was that he was going to play the next game and you just didn't want to overtax him.
So maybe Berube didn't know that Woll was playing on Thursday.
I don't think they knew.
Like, I mean,
No. Go listen to the clip.
Well, he says they picked out the date, but they
was,
didn't know he's going to be ready by the date.
yeah. I mean, if you're Craig Berube, you're coming in here. It's kind of hard to depend on the fact
he's healthy and he's cleared and he's practiced with the team. You knew you were going to him Thursday.
We kind of had this date picked out.
In that
kind of
case,
had this date picked out.
in that case, I am now retroactively upset about the Columbus non-pull. Right? Hildeby was bad.
He was bad.
And obviously not on for that night.
You know what really grinds my gears?
He was shaking. He was shaking.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, they are probably really appreciative of what Stolarz has done so far, but they're not willing now to let him roll with it because that would probably change the feel or the plan, and you don't want to deviate from the plan. They're in it for, between Woll and Stolarz, they're in it for the long game.
Yeah,
right?
But results should change your plan. That's more information to update your plan with. And when you have a guy who's been as good as Stolarz, it's okay to change the plan. Say, sorry, Joseph Woll. In sports, sometimes, isn't there expression, getting Wally pipped? Isn't this like an old...
I don't know what the meaning is, but it's a saying.
Well, it's like he played for the Yankees and he was hurt
Was it the
and someone
Yankees?
else came in. I don't know.
Was it the Knicks? I
Don't
feel like
care.
it might have been the Knicks.
Sure.
I don't know.
Whoever came in was better than old Wally, and Wally didn't get his job back. So I just got Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe in my ear. Fair
Okay,
enough.
let's follow it up with Craig Berube's thoughts on how Woll's been throughout this process of not starting the season.
I think he's been fine. I mean, listen, injuries happen. You can't control them. It's disappointing. He was disappointed for sure, and he had a good camp and was ready to go. And disappointing on his part and ours. I mean, but that's part of the game, and you got to deal with it. And he's dealt with it in the right way.
I think we need that Berube listen drop paired with the Cooper listen drop. Elliot says it. Elliot says it a lot too. We could probably have a whole segment just called Listen, where we give a solid opinion.
Like we're not listening?
Yeah, we've asked you the question.
Wally Pipp was the first Yankee to lead the American League in home runs due to his famous replacement by Lou Gehrig, Players begin to say they were Wally pipped when fate were placed in a lineup, especially if it was due to a minor
I
injury.
heard that.
Led the team in home runs.
Yeah, first Yankee to ever lead the American League in home runs, and then his replacement was Luke Gehrig. Decent player.
Good career.
Anyways.
So let's play some scenarios out.
Okay.
Okay. Here's the first scenario.
Okay.
That Joseph Woll goes in.
Shut up.
No, I wasn't going there first.
Okay.
Doesn't play well at all.
3 goals against and 6 shots. It's 10
I'm
minutes
just
into
saying,
the
though,
first.
like there is a bit of a educated guess here for Craig Berube to go to Joseph Woll.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that I am taking out a very hot goaltender for the one that I believed prior to the season starting was my number one goalie.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't happen now, that's a tough one for Craig Berube to wear going into Boston, is it not? That he took a chance on Joseph Woll, who probably hasn't had much more than 1 or 2 practices, full practices, to come back off this injury.
You think that's it? Yeah, pretty limited. Yeah.
I don't think there's been a ton. Okay, I don't know what the number is, but I'm just saying that you could have squeezed in another good practice for him on Friday, even if you thought about him on Saturday night, but you chose to go to St. Louis. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is he from
Woll's a
St. Louis?
guy, yeah.
So is there
Maybe.
an emotional attachment to this as well? Make the guy happy?
Maybe.
Probably. That's probably a portion of it.
I do think that if you're Stolars, you are comfortable sitting for longer stretches and staying hot, right? He's been a career backup. Last year, he didn't play a ton with behind Bobrovsky. Is the word I was trying to say. Like, if there's a guy that's going to be able to not cool off after missing, well, I guess he'll go Monday to Saturday with starts without missing
Yeah,
6
that's true.
days.
Yeah, see, I don't.
Got some experience
I
with it.
don't, I don't see it that way.
No?
Not from a competitive athlete look.
This guy
We do
wants
not agree.
I'm
job.
like, I get the dream start out of the gate in this market, and you don't give me a chance to run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like, I'd be pissed.
but I think
It's interesting.
I agree. Listen, I think he probably should have started tonight, but I mean, to play devil's advocate, no goalie is, I mean, there's Shesterkin plays 55 or 6, like no goalie plays that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the old days of Luongo playing 65 games a year, Brodeur playing 70 games a year. It's just kind of the way it goes. But when it's early, I agree. Like, you're kind of pressing here. You're riding the hot hand. It's going to fall off eventually. But I think, Woll's going to get his starts. So
Yeah.
to play devil's advocate,
It
here,
is funny, like
But I do agree he should
when
start.
his expectations would have changed for Stolars, because he knew going into the year it was a split him situation. That was the plan.
Yeah.
So, has he played enough and well enough to think that they should completely override
Yeah.
the plan by game 8?
Yeah. And to your point, Sammy, there's a lot of hockey here,
Oh, yeah.
right? Is this 4 and 6?
It's been a lot. Yeah. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday coming up. Yeah.
Monday,
It will be 4 and
Right.
6. Yeah.
and then you're at
5 and 8.
5 and 8.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I get it, but I think it does speak to. I don't know if pressure is the right word, but you got to get Woll in there. This is a guy that is never been proven to be a stable NHLer, and didn't end well last year when he
Broke my little heart
right?
into a million pieces.
Broke your heart for
Yeah.
Game 7.
Yeah.
The last thing he's done on the ice is
Right.
get scored on with 4 seconds left in game 6.
And you did give him 11 sheets,
yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's
which
funny.
is a ton of money for a guy who has never played 40 games in the NHL.
You know,
in one
I
season.
think there is a fair question to be made that, like, even 100% healthy, are you sure he's better than Stolars? And I'm not saying this about Stolars so much. Like, it's not like Woll has this sample size of games where he's a 9-10 guy in the league. Like, he has a lot of games where he's been very good, and he probably is. But he's pretty young and hasn't had a track record yet. So get him in. Let him start building the track record. Let's make the decision on merit at some point.
So then the flip side, he goes in and he's outstanding tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Leafs win 4-1. He's He makes 35 stops.
I mean, 50 safe shutout at Stolar's
Yep.
Saturday night.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
You heard the coach. They kind of got a plan here. They've written some dates in.
We kind of had
So-
this.
You
date
shouldn't
picked
have
out.
a plan.
So
For your goalies.
I think
Play
based
the good
on
one.
Play the
Wall,
one that's
He's
saving the
rested.
most.
based on Wall going in tonight, they'll probably go to Stolar's Saturday night.
I would
Yep.
think so.
You'd have to think.
Right.
He's certainly earned that.
No question. No question.
All right. So Berube playing his former team. We got some clips from him on the idea of going back. Do you want to do the cup ring one, or do you want to actually do a full?
Well, we could end with the cup ring.
All right.
Cup
Well,
ring one,
let's start just with what he had to say on facing the Blues.
clip 3.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of there's emotions, but once the puck drops, it's over. We're just playing. Like we need a good response here tonight with our team. That's what I'm focused on.
Does that sound like a guy that's not feeling the emotions a little bit?
That's first. He sounds a little rattled there.
First time I've heard him talk where it hasn't been like this direct, decisive, knows exactly what he's going to say.
Like when you go to a party, you're like, "Oh, my ex-girlfriend's here. That's fine.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
bother me."
I'm totally good with it. I'm totally good with it.
Hey, Kathy.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know Jordana Kyrie was going to be here tonight.
Once the puck drops, it's over.
Kathy, break your heart.
Maybe. The Kyper thing is funny. I did think that it probably matters more to Kyper. Like he was a guy who is still there and almost won the sort of standoff that him and Berube had. I'm sure he has great interest in having a night tonight.
Big time.
Yeah, I think I know Kyrie came out, was pretty emotional and had to backtrack a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just part of a growth for Kyrie. We probably just a little immature still with not only the comments that he made about Berube leaving, but also probably the way he handled Berube challenging him.
What did he say again? I can't quite remember what he said, but he was pretty critical of him.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what he said either.
It was just
that up.
a reference that he's no longer here now. But I don't know in what.
Someone asked about their
Exactly.
relationship or something.
Yeah.
He
But-
didn't answer the question.
Listen, those coaches, they challenge guys.
Yeah.
And sometimes some handle it better than others. And I know we've got a clip of Brad Marchand as a veteran and a guy that's been in the league a long time, and he talks about Montgomery as well challenging him, and we'll get into that
Do you wanna
probably.
play it?
No, let's leave it. It's we'll talk about it a little later in
Yep.
a national show, but that's what those type of coaches do. I wrote an article today for the Toronto Star, and I kind of referenced that Berube has had a great influence early in changing the culture, and so and I kind of compared it to Pat Burns coming in the early 90s that led to 2 conference finals. These guys, that's what they do better than most when it comes to getting results early. And sometimes you got to frighten some guys. Some guys handle it well. Some guys don't handle it well. It's not for everybody, but I think Kyrie, young still.
Yeah.
Now making $8 million a year.
The comment, just to clarify, was when he got asked about it, he said, "I've got no comment. He's not my coach anymore." Which
Berube had done a lot for St. Louis at that point.
yeah,
People
and he
didn't
got
like
remember the game after he got booed.
Yeah.
He was crying after. That was actually a tough scene there to end it.
It was. But, Braden Shen made some comments recently. I forget who interviewed him, but said something to the effect of Berube was hard on guys and direct, but the next day it was like it never happened. He asked you how you're doing, whatever, and that when you're a kid, when you're young, it's tough. You've always been great for Kyrie to take that criticism and just move on maybe. And I think it is sort of a veteran thing. And hopefully for the Leafs, they're older now. Their core is older and they can handle it in a mature way.
And it's coming first. It's a long season.
You don't think we're going to hear a Willie criticism clip from Berube in the next 2 weeks? Well, next month we'll call it. It's happening.
And this team, Blues are off to a decent start. 8 points from 7 games, 4-3. But I do think, remember how hard Nick Robertson played against Sheldon Keefe in the second game of the season, where he was buzzing all over the place in that first period and was just like the best he's been all year. This is a good team that probably has some feelings about Berube and how they want to beat him and show him. I'm sure there's a bit of cash on the board tonight in
I would think so.
in the St. Louis room. Probably some in the Leafs room too.
Mhm.
So I think it has a potential to be a much more intense Thursday out of conference game than you would usually be used to, I think.
In 15 minutes, we'll got Andy Strickland, co-host of Cam and Strick podcast, to talk about Berube, his days in St. Louis, and what we'll see tonight. Top of the hour, we got Adam Oates as well. And Adam's been on the show before, breaking down a ton of stuff.
Is he on video?
Yeah.
Thank God, because I never know when he's done talking. Seeing him will help and get his cadence
We'll get
dialed
into
in.
power plays. We'll get into Stamkos's Nashville slow start. So looking forward to that as well.
We do have another Berube clip on Facing the Blues. Do you want to hear that, Blues,
Yeah,
too?
let's do it.
Let's do that. Clip 4, please.
Well, it's great, and just got a lot of memories there for sure. Been there a long time, worked with a lot of people for a long time, and I have a lot of real good feelings for these people and all that. But in the end, it's like we need 2 points. Like I can't stress that enough. Like it's just about us.
You said the other day you didn't love some of the comments from the team after the loss. I love these comments from Berube, who's really not making it about himself, and he's making it about where the team is at on their schedule, which is really nice.
He's a guy that's played with, correct me if I'm wrong, half a dozen teams. Like
Yeah.
at a certain point, you're like, yeah, okay.
But you have experienced playing former teammates before, and there's something extra, something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, he's going to feel it tonight for sure. It's not like he's going into St. Louis tonight, but at the same time, you look across and you want to beat the team beside you that at the end of the day thought you weren't good enough to stick around.
Right.
That's what you remember the most.
And they got this game against the Blues, and then next Saturday is in St. Louis. So within 2 weeks, he's got to deal with this one. So there you go.
Now, who asked him about it? Where's his Stanley Cup ring? Like today, he was going to wear it.
That would've been
Really?
honestly awesome.
I think it was maybe Kevin McGran that asked him. I'm not sure. I recognize all the different voices, but I think it may be McGran. Do you want to hear the clip?
Sure.
We have clip 5, please, Derek.
On where's his cup ring?
Yeah.
I don't know, at home somewhere. Yeah, it's at home. Like I don't know exactly, but it's there. Well, it's not on display. It's probably somewhere at home. My wife's probably got it. Maybe she sold it. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'm not sure exactly where it's at.
I don't think he needs the money.
Well, I was going to say, like, you have to be in a certain financial situation to not be aware of it. It's like if you ask me where my daughter is, me being like, I don't know. Like, that's a Stanley Cup ring.
So when I got traded to New York, I did ask Mark eventually, Messier, like, you got 6 of these. How come I haven't seen you wear one?
Yeah.
And he says, like, where's yours? And I'm like, I don't know if he's busting on me or what, but I'm like, yeah, I don't have one. He goes, I'll make you a deal. When you win one this year and I wear one, we'll wear them together next season.
That's amazing. And
I'm like, oh my God, we're going to win the cup. I'm going to get a ring.
one of my favorite cup ring stories. So Bree's dad, Clark Gillies, lost 2 cup rings over his life. They both found their way back eventually. One of them, he was driving a snowmobile, wearing the cup ring in the gloves. Snowmobile flips in like a creek in Vermont or something.
Oh my!
A bit of a crisis. They're pulling people out. Cup ring's gone. They don't realize it till days later that it wasn't on his hand anymore. In the spring, the plow that shoveled the snow up on the banks on the side of the road, the snow melted, and they came across this like shiny object, and they found the cup ring.
Oh my God!
The next spring when the
What
melt
are the
came.
odds?
Is that not crazy?
Oh my God! That is crazy.
I know.
That's crazy.
There's got to be like I've misplaced mine
Have
on
you?
a number of occasions. Yes.
That seems like something that's either on your
It's-
finger or in some protected.
It's okay for the first hour, but if you go 2 or 3 days, you're in a full panic.
Do you know the other time he lost his? Islanders are driving the bus back, a long bus ride, and they're not long, but on the East Coast, they used to bus to a lot of the places, and they had to pull the bus over to throw all the beer cans into the woods off the bus. And he's throwing the beer cans into the woods off the Islanders bus, and he throws his ring. It's dark outside. He says, hey, I threw my cup ring. They can't find it. The team is off the bus with the few flashlights they have trying to find the cup ring.
Did they find it?
They did.
Oh, my God.
But I guess it's like an hour-long thing, he says. They're looking for the ring.
I mean, they'll look for it for Clark Gillies, but, it's the seventh defenseman does it. Then maybe it's hard of a look.
Yeah, a little different maybe. Anyway.
That's awesome.
It is remarkable, though. Like, so many people have never seen one before. That's the other thing. Every once in a while when I put it on, it's like, I've never seen one before. And mine, like, it's okay.
Yours is great. Yours is at the start of good rings.
It's wearable.
I shouldn't even say that. The Islanders.
You look at them today now, it's like, what do you clean this through the car wash?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Crazy.
No, they're like coffee table pieces. The Islanders had good ones, but I don't know that before that they were great. The Islanders were pretty good size.
All right, do we get an update on Fraser Minton?
Yeah, he had been mentioned when I hadn't really heard anything much about him, but he did mention him today for Berube. So if you want to hear that clip 6.
So obviously it was hard on him because, getting hurt in a rookie game and that early in camp and not be able to participate in the main camp and things like that was difficult for him. Like, he was a first-year pro and ready to go. But again, like, injuries happen and it's hard and nobody's happy about it, but you got to deal with it. And he's done it in the right way. He's got a real good head on his shoulders, this guy.
There you go.
Glowing review.
Just down to the Marlies. He's eligible now for the Marlies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So he's got maybe an overage year, but he's not going back to junior.
No.
That's good. It's where he should be. Go have a great year. That Marshall Rafai he's off to a good start by everything I've heard down there. If they needed a D-man.
Where's the lineup? Camps back in?
Yeah, they didn't say.
They didn't say?
No.
Well, they're going to have some tougher decisions still in the next week or so.
Well, Pacioretty is day-to-day, so they would probably
so he'll go in.
Yeah, he'll go
in.
Yeah.
We won't see Pacioretty then tonight, probably.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, should we take a quick break?
Yeah, let's hit a break.
All right. After the break, we'll welcome in Andy Strickland. We'll get a thought on the St. Louis Blues, including Broberg. And did the Edmonton Oilers make a huge mistake? That more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Hey, Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Toronto Maple Leafs, St. Louis Blues. Puck drop 7.
Yep.
Is it the only game again?
No, there's lots of games tonight. Thank God.
It's 48 games tonight.
9.
That's good. That's a good number. It's a good number. Yeah.
I think Nick Robertson's going to score again tonight.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Floodgates. I've decided he's getting 20.
What?
Well, let's hope that it
Who's
will
up 4?
help influence the game.
Yeah, who's up 4 in that situation?
You're too cynical.
Our next guest, I don't think he's here yet, but if you'll remember correctly, the last time we had Andy Strickland on was before our show ended last year when Berube got hired. It was during our show.
Yeah, where was he at Costco?
I tracked it down. I think Cost is the right side. Maybe Cabo. He was like at a resort.
Yes, that's right. He was on vacation. I just remember him in a car.
I think he was like at like a pool.
Oh, was he in a pool?
Yeah, and he came on our show.
In the car too.
No, he was in the car.
No, there was one where he was in the car for sure.
Okay.
But there was one where he was.
Oh, where's he going to be now?
We're about to find out, boys. I don't know.
TTC.
I don't know.
Is he in town? He follows the team,
yeah, I'm
right?
not sure if he's in the town or not. But we'll find out. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that.
Is Timothy Liljegren ever going to play for the Leafs again?
I don't think so.
You think?
No.
I don't.
He signed with $3 million this summer. He's played one game.
Maybe.
Game 8.
Maybe just to keep him fresh, but he is clearly on the outside looking in. And
I think that says a lot about what they think of Timmins.
Listen, Timmins to me has been a lot more forceful, a lot more noticeable.
Did you see him?
He has more tools.
Okay.
There's no doubt he has more tools.
I don't know who it was in the Columbus game, but he tried to hammer somebody. He came flying through. I don't know who he had with his head down.
That's great to hear.
I was like, oh my God, that's allowed from you? So it's nice to see.
Yeah. I mean, he's a large body.
Yeah.
And at the end, how many chances did Liljegren get to take it and run with it?
So many. So many. You can't say that he was denied opportunity. It's just you can say that since they gave him $6 million worth of contract, he has had no opportunity.
I will continue to say, why is Timothy Liljegren not a member of the Utah Hockey Club yet?
Yeah,
just-
for
it just-
Utah's purposes.
It just makes so much sense.
It is hard, though, for a team that was striving to get depth on the blue line to just give away
I don't want the
a
Leafs to move
right-handed
on
shot.
from him. I can
right?
see why Utah would want him, but I don't think the Leafs should trade him.
Not yet.
No.
There's really no sense. And if somebody goes down
Mhm.
and you
All of a
gave up
sudden,
a fourth for him or a fifth-round pick or whatever, some guy you never heard of,
doesn't help you.
it's not really helping you.
So that's what you think you're going to get back from somebody you never heard of?
I don't know. Okay, let's welcome
Yeah,
in
sure.
Andy
Let's talk about it.
Strickland, and maybe we'll talk about Lilligren's value.
Oh, he's
Somewhere down
coming
the
in
road.
Oh, yeah,
hot.
there we go.
Looking
Oof.
good.
Andy Strickland, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Andy?
I'm good, fellas. How
So,
about you?
We had like many of our dumb conversations. Like, where were you the last time you were on our show? Were you in a car or were you on the beach?
Cabo.
On the beach.
Yes.
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay, so Sammy's smarter than us.
Makes sense.
And I may have had a few too many. Remember, you had to cut me off. I wouldn't shut up. I wouldn't stop talking. I just kept talking.
So is that
But you caught me. You caught me when I was having some margaritas when Chiefs signed.
if we ask you about this year's version of the St. Louis Blues, are you gonna? Is it enough for you to go on and on and on, or where are you on them?
I can be pretty quick. Listen, I think they're good enough to hang around. You hope when the calendar turns to April that they're still in position to have a chance. They're playing meaningful games come April, but they need a lot of things to go right. Number one, the power play hasn't been very good at all. They need the power play to be better. That's going to be a challenge now without Robert Thomas because he's the guy who pretty much drives it. They've been having issues with their entries in the power play. You talk to different players like Buchnevich or Kyper, guys who are an integral part of the power play, and they say that's the issue. Well, Robert Thomas is the guy to get the puck into the zone and help set things up. They've tried Justin Falk up top. I felt like that was a improvement versus Torrey Krug, who had been that guy the last couple of years. Of course, they had Pietrangelo before that. Falk had been a very productive power play guy during his time in Carolina. Really hadn't gotten much opportunity to be that guy here in St. Louis. The power play wasn't very good last year until Bannister took over. I think they were close to being dead last, maybe 31st in the NHL when Chief got fired. And then it got better. And as a result, they won a lot of games down the stretch. And as a result of that, Drew Bannister got the job. But they're going to need some spread out scoring, certainly more scoring than what they're getting right now. They just had 4 straight games at home. They had a 4-game homestand. No goals scored by Buchnevich or Kyper or Robert Thomas in those 4 games. Of course, Thomas went down in the third period last game.
Andy, what are the personal stakes tonight for the St. Louis Blues and Craig Berube? Where were the relationships left, and who do you think this matters to most?
Well, listen, and I think you guys can chime in on this too. You certainly know what it means to a guy to go up against your former team, and this is certainly a big game for Craig Berube. I think he'll make that clear to his coaching staff. If not, guys like Mark Savard and Mike Van Ryn will let the guys know, hey, listen, this is a big game for Chief. Probably not as big of a game as it will be coming up on November 2nd when the team returns to St. Louis and they play at home. I was with a couple of his close friends today. Listen, I know this is a big game for Craig Berube, but it's a big game for the Leafs too. Coming off of that loss against Columbus, they've lost, 2 or 3 now. They want to get their game back on track. But you can never lose sight of what it means from a personal standpoint. Whenever you won a championship with a team and then got fired by that team, the first time you face them, it's got to be meaningful. He knows pretty much everybody on the other side, although there's a lot of new faces. I think 7 or 8 new players in the Blues this season. But he knows a lot of guys, and they certainly know him too. So they better be up. They better be ready to go when they face Toronto tonight.
Andy, we just spoke about trying to remember the situation between Kyper and Berube that led to what was rather strange breakup, when he left, and Sam reminded us that it was a comment like, he's not my coach anymore. And then it kind of took a life on its own where they actually booed Kyper at home. And it's very seldom you see the fans take the position of a head coach that got fired over a current player. And just looking back now, Andy, I ask you this, was it ever really that bad between Berube and Kyper?
Listen, I think Berube will coach certain players very, very hard, especially offensive players, when he wants to get those guys to play the right way. Understanding time and score, when to live for another day. We saw Jim Montgomery the other day jump Brad Marchand. Monty worked under Chief here. That's kind of the way they are. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter if you're the best player or if you're a 20-year-old rookie. If you don't play the right way, they're going to get in your face. And some guys take to hard coaching better than others, and I think it wore on guys like Jordan Kyrou, probably Robert Thomas as well. I think they were looking forward to a little bit of a change. Probably went both ways. I think Craig Berube was looking forward to a change of scenery as well. Sometimes, I just talked to Paul Maurice about this a few weeks ago when he was in Winnipeg, right? He knew he had gotten the most out of that team. It was time to step away. And you weren't going to go any further with that team with the Winnipeg Jets. And obviously he goes to Florida. It's a better situation for him. I think Chief was, kind of gotten to that point. Although he was a little bit surprised the night that he got fired. And it was not a popular at all decision by Doug Armstrong and the St. Louis Blues. I mean, Craig Berube, one of the most popular coaches or athletes to come through St. Louis over the course of the last 20 years. The team had never won a Stanley Cup. He brings the first Stanley Cup here. He kind of represents, the fan and the people who live here in St. Louis, how they go about their day to day, kind of that blue collar guy. And they love Chief, And so when Jordan Kyrou answered a relatively meaningless question with, I'm not going to talk about Chief, he's not my coach anymore. That didn't go over very well, not only with the fans, but with the organization either. And I was doing the interview with Jordan Kyrou the game after he got booed. I mean, it was so upsetting for him. He got super emotional in the scrum. I went in the dressing room with a camera to actually talk to him about that. He got very emotional. And I said to some people after that this guy will come out and have a great game the next game, and the fans are going to give him a standing ovation. And he came out and he had a hat trick the following game. Ended up being the leading scorer for, Drew Bannister after he took over, led the team in power play goals, led the team in scoring down the stretch. So I think he had to get through that. It was a learning experience for him. I asked Doug Armstrong about that again this offseason. He came on our podcast with Cam Jansen to me, and I asked him about it. He said it was a stupid comment. So the organization did not like it. And I think it was a learning experience for him and a lot of other people too.
That's crazy to hear them weigh in on sort of a player's interview, and obviously he, as you mentioned, he resonated a lot with St. Louis. The offer sheets that St. Louis made this season, I don't know if those two players would fall under the blue collar St. Louis mentality type guys, but they're two pretty speedy, talented hockey players. How have they fit in with the Blues so far? I'm talking about Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway.
Well, Broberg's been really good. I mean, he had points in the first 6 games of the season. He was on pace for 82 games, Kyper. He had 6 points in 6 games.
Not bad.
To start the season.
Not bad. You think anybody noticed in Edmonton?
Yeah. He didn't get a point in his last game, but his speed jumped. You'll see that here tonight when you watch him play. You watch him skate, and obviously you guys watched him in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. This guy can really get up and down the ice. Nick Leddy went down with an injury, and that allowed Broberg to maybe get a little more comfortable, get some more ice time. He's been over 20 minutes in each of the last 4 games. And, certainly playing with a lot of confidence right now. He's good with the puck too, not getting a whole lot of power play time, but it's the little things that he does. He can recover quickly. He can turn with the best skaters in the league. He can, get up ice and carry the puck too when he's got some time and space, and kind of be that one-man breakout too. And, he's competitive. And I think Holloway, similar situation. I think they tried to play Holloway a little further up the lineup when the season got going than probably he was used to, or maybe where he's capable of playing at this stage of his career. He's going to play center tonight, which I don't know if he's played center since the American League or even college, going back to his days. Play hockey. So, we'll see how that goes for him and how long they stick with him in the middle. But he scored his first goal as a member of the Blues a couple of games ago on the recent homestand. He can make plays. His speed stands out, but he can get in on the forecheck. He's a little more of a north and south guy. I think he fits in with the way that they want to play. So both players have fit in nicely. I think it's been a great fit for both of them. And I think they knew at the time they would get a greater opportunity here in St. Louis to have a bigger role. And both certainly have so far.
Jordan Binnington's got a Stanley Cup, just like Craig Berube, a ring. He's from the Toronto area, born in Richmond Hill. Where is he in all of this moving forward? There's a Team Canada team to be made. Everybody talks about Binnington. I'm sure a good showing tonight, in this market would go a long way to solidify his spot on Team Canada. How has his start been?
It's been, listen, even when the team isn't performing well in front of him, he still makes, 1 or 2 grade A saves a game. And he probably is the best option to represent Canada in the Four Nations. But I'll give you another name, too, Joel Hofer, who the Blues backup is. This guy should be on the radar for Hockey Canada as well. He won a gold medal in the World Juniors a few years back. He's 3-0 to start the season. This guy has number 1 goalie potential down the road. Like, he's really, really good. But Binnington, the team hasn't played their best when he's been in between the pipes. But we all know that he can calm things down very, very quickly. He's an elite goaltender. When he's on his game, I truly believe he's a top 10 goaltender in the NHL when he's on his game. And, I don't think he's played his best up to this point. I think he certainly has given the team a chance to win, and he's played good enough to win. You look at the game the other night against Winnipeg, probably should have fared better in that game. The team is not scoring for him, which is interesting because, Toronto's not scoring a ton right now either in comparison to where they were a year ago. So we'll see what kind of game we get here tonight, but he could certainly use more offense and give this guy a lead. I think they have maybe 2, maybe 3 goals scored in the first period so far this season among the 7 games. So again, no real breathing room for, Jordan Binnington, but I've seen him be better. He knows he can be better. He hasn't played bad, but there's another level for Jordan Binnington to get to, and probably another level for him that he needs to get to for this team to truly put up the necessary points to get in the playoffs.
Last one for me. Just want to get a thought on. I look at the team's lineup, before the night before they play the Leafs, and the first pair interests me a lot. Colton Parayko, how has he been? And Ryan Suter?
Yeah.
Ryan Suter's playing first pair?
He is right now. This guy, I think he averaged around 19 minutes a game last year, something like that. And Nick Leddy's gone down with an injury, which has opened the door for Suter to slide up and now play with Colton Parayko. So I don't think that was the design coming into the season. But this guy doesn't overextend himself. Nope. He doesn't put himself
in situations. He's approaching 1,500 career games, so he knows how to play the game.
These are amazing contracts with zero risk. And you have one over there, Max Pacioretty in Toronto. I mean, these veteran guys, I know he's coming off an injury. Maybe there was, you needed to see him in training camp to see where he's at. But when you pay these guys under $1 million for their experience, they know how to play the game. Mm-hmm. And you throw in some bonuses there with their age, and they don't eat up much of the cap at all. I mean, this guy's making $750,000, and he's playing over 20 minutes a game right now. And I think he's settled down, Colton Parayko. Watch Ryan Suter play tonight. He never puts himself in a bad spot, makes the easy play, keeps things super simple. And I think it's been a good fit for Colton Parayko so far. Now, come and see me again as we get into game 50, 55 of the season. We'll see where it's at. He's 39 years of age. He's the oldest skater in the NHL. Marc-Andre Fleury's the oldest player. But, I just saw a couple of them go toe-to-toe a couple of games ago. Ryan Suter versus Brent Burns. These guys keep themselves in great shape. They know how to play the game. They know where they're at with their game at this stage of their career. It's always interesting, man. I mean, you see a lot of guys who are 24, 25, making $3 million a year that don't know how to play, right. To be honest with you. This guy's 39. He knows how to play in the NHL. He's been a little bit of a surprise. I don't want to say a big surprise. You kind of knew what you were getting in him, but I think there's always a question mark when you get a guy who's 39. Can he still play at a high level? I think he's answered those questions early, and we'll see if that can continue.
And just one quick one here before we let you go.
Yeah.
I know Torrey Krug's on IR, but I was a huge fan. I really liked this guy coming out of Boston. I thought it was a good signing for St. Louis. What's happened with this guy?
I think it's a great question. Listen, he never had great, foot speed. The power play was a little bit different here in St. Louis versus, what he was accustomed to in Boston. I'm not going to sit here and act like he didn't have some great moments here with the Blues either, and he didn't play some good hockey. for stretches. There were times that he certainly did. He got paid a big contract. I think people look at the $6.5 million cap hit. And, he's just not a guy that I think it's a stretch to ask him to defend against the other team's top players night in and night out. Now, can he quarterback a power play? He absolutely can. Is he really, really competitive? Yes, he is. Is he a great teammate? Yes. Did the guys like him? Yes. Did he produce at the level that you would want from him? Probably not. Is he undersized? Yes. And couldn't really stay healthy either, but this has been a lingering issue. They got it fixed. We'll see what the future holds for Torrey Krug. Really, really good guy. And I'm with you. Maybe he was insulated a little bit when he was surrounded by some of those other defensemen that he had in Boston. They lost Alex Pietrangelo, and the immediate reaction was to sign Torrey Krug. So the people, around here kind of evaluated him as Alex Pietrangelo's replacement, which is probably a little bit unfair. Pietrangelo, a world-class defender who could also chip in offensively and put up some points. He's not Alex Pietrangelo, but he had some good moments. But it's tough. You guys know. I mean, to play defense at that size, with how big the players are nowadays and how fast they are, it can be a challenge. And especially around the blue paint, I think that's where he struggled the most. It wasn't even the speed, defending speed. It was more so boxing out and just being able to get body position in front of the net. That was a little bit of a challenge for him. So defensively, just okay. But he had some good moments, too. I'm not going to act like he didn't.
Andy, great stuff, man. Enjoy the game tonight. Thanks for doing this.
Always a pleasure, guys.
Thanks,
care.
Strick. Appreciate it.
Andy Strickland, co-host of the Cam and Strick podcast. See, I checked all the same boxes as Torrey Krug. I'm a good guy. I got along well. I didn't produce. We're exactly the same. I didn't get
you make
6
40
million.
schmil, no?
You get 6.
A couple of the St. Louis Blues stats that might go well for the Leafs tonight. They're 27th on the penalty kill, killing about 70% of the penalties. 32nd in the league in shorthanded inner slot shots against. 31st in the league in zone denial. Like their PK's bad. That could be good news for the Leafs power play tonight. Leafs power play could use some help. Not sure if you're familiar with that.
Help.
Yeah. They're 26th in the league, whereas the Blues are 25th on the power play. So St. Louis special teams stink right now, and the Leafs could use a little help.
No Thomas tonight. Their number one guy up front, and I'd say that would help the Leafs, but there's a lot of guys out of Columbus, too.
Yeah, they had no Boone Jenner, Goodbranson, or someone else.
Yeah.
Someone else who's a player.
Any vibes tonight?
Excited. I don't, like I said,
Yeah.
time will tell. Don't really know how to read in this game tonight.
You got to think they're going to come out with a lot of
I think they're going to pump them.
gumption.
I think the Leafs are going to pump them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that the score will be huge, but that was aggressive. I do think that the Leafs win by a couple goals tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're heading to our national hour. We'll talk about this off the top of the national hour, but some breaking news that the Vegas Golden Knights have locked up one of their guys for long-term, Shea Theodore, on a long-term contract.
Really?
Yeah, we can be disgusted by the AAV and the other side of the break.
6?
Save it.
Yeah, I will.
Save it.
Yeah,
I didn't
come
see
back.
it.
Come back after the break, and we'll talk about it.
All right.
Okay, we still have 60 seconds.
All right, then let's talk about it.
I heard the music.
I heard the music, too.
Leave the teasing to me.
I heard the music. I got
Started
excited.
the tease.
Horrible
I'm
timing.
sorry, dude. Listen. There's
Listen.
music. Listen. But listen, I'm sorry.
So how many guys can get away with listen?
Coop can get away
Yes.
with listen.
Sammy, not so much.
Strick dropped a couple of listens.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
I've been known to say it.
Listen.
Berube saying listen.
Nobody says it like John Cooper.
No.
Cooper's like, oh, listen.
So,
you disgust.
start the tease. Shea Theodore.
Shea Theodore.
We'll find out what the AAV is.
16 million per year?
And the term. And Adam Oates.
Yeah.
There's a guy that can start a sentence with listen. Adam Oates, Hall of Famer, after the break when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Let's take it national on the Real Kyper and Bourne show. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in Adam Oates, Hall of Famer, guy that knows a little bit about a power play and what makes it work, and certainly what doesn't.
Do you think he shaved the toe of the blade of his stick down?
Yeah, he's notoriously known for
We see that?
the work of a hockey stick.
Tinkerer.
Yes.
Mm.
Do you want to ask him about it?
I
You guys can. Yeah. I just want to quickly mention the Shea Theodore thing.
Yes.
29-year-old defenseman just signed for 7 years, $7.4 million per year.
You know what's crazy about that is like Seth Jones getting 9.5, and there's just like
Darnell Nurse.
Nurse making 9.5.
Sorry, $7.425 million is what I should have
Theodore
said.
making 7.4.
That market
It's
for
a
blue
nice
liners
deal.
has calmed down.
I guess so. I mean,
What
that's
Werenski make?
he's a Team
Gretzky
Canada guy.
said 8, maybe.
He's Team Canada guy. 100% Shea Theodore, Team Canada. And it's just like, yeah,
Would you rather Shea Theodore or Morgan Riley?
Shea Theodore.
Oh wow, he didn't take long there.
No, I love Shea Theodore. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. And not to bring up the tax take here,
This is tiring.
but I mean, there's no way he's signing that contract in a Canadian city. It's $2.5 million more on the cap.
Yeah, I mean it's
Sorry.
correct.
Sorry.
It's correct.
Different set of
Just
rules,
seems
boys.
like Vegas, above any other team, just constantly just finds money and just
They
like
figure it out.
keeps signing all their guys. And
Vegas is like that friend of yours who like suddenly has a new car and like a new whatever, and you're like, how much
How?
debt are you in?
What was-
or,
yeah, where's
where
this
did they
coming?
get their money from?
Yeah.
Did
Did you get a
somebody,
promotion?
Inherited wealth.
somebody die and leave them all this
Right.
money?
Vegas seems to have something going on where they just can keep
It's the
spending.
gambling part. They're just they
Maybe that's
keep
it.
gambling and winning.
They're allowed to put a portion of their cap on the roulette table, and it must have hit somewhere along the way.
I am incredibly envious of it. And people hate on them, like specifically Oilers fans. And like a lot of people,
Pretty detestable team.
I like it. I respect it. They play within the rules. They are greasy. They put Mark Stone, like they do all these things. I would kill for the Leafs to act like this and just do greasy things that just like, they're in the rules. They haven't been fined. They haven't gotten in trouble. I love it. They're well run.
I like
Contenders they've never not been a contender.
maybe the worst jersey in the league.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
You would. You bet.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
So
buddy.
speaking of the Oilers, and we'll get into this with Adam Oates, but we also have made it well known that the Leafs power play is struggling. Edmonton Oilers power play is struggling. Washington Capitals are off to a good start, but with Ovi, that power play is struggling. What did you think about Zach Hyman coming off the first unit on the power play there?
Terrible idea. Terrible idea. I'm not even just saying that. That's not even like a joke. I think when you have a guy who's struggling, who's proved he could do it in the league before, I don't think you do them any favors or your team any favors by making it harder for them to get back to their game. You just need a chintzy one off your skate.
Yeah.
You need some piece of luck, and all of a sudden you're going again and feeling all right.
Yeah, I know
So
what
you've got to get the engine
I gotta-
started. You got to prime that
I-
motor.
I got a different view. I'm like,
It's
yes.
chicken and the egg here.
change it up. Like I'm sure it's something that bothers Zach Hyman for sure, but like show that listen, Knobloch's job's not in jeopardy,
No.
but that's a move that a coach would feel like I've got to do something now.
Yeah.
Now.
And I appreciate that. I just don't know. You're better off as a team when he finds it. And I think you make it harder for him to find it when you say, well, now you're not going to be out with the best guys at the easiest time where you got 20 goals last year or whatever. I just don't think it does him any favors.
It's somewhere in between the two arguments where you want Zach Hyman, who scored, I think, 70 goals by the time the Stanley Cup final came around.
True, by the way, 70 over last year.
You want him to shoot one in the net, and you want him to find that. But at the same time, he hasn't scored yet. And you're trying to win hockey games, and it's the top power play unit for the best, supposed to be one of the best teams in the league. I think it's a move that you make. You probably don't stick with it long, but if you get a couple here, it's hard. Hyman's hoping it just looks just as bad.
Yeah.
Or he's like, okay, it's
It's not a great spot to be in either.
yeah.
But I'm not a big believer in it hasn't happened, so it won't or it can't.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
gotta come. But I mean,
how many did he just whack in? from inside the net last
We'll
year.
give credit to our boy, Coach Chippy, who put together a highlight reel of Hyman's goals last year. It's just him whacking a ball in the mini net from 3 inches away.
It was
pretty good.
It was one of those years where just couldn't do anything wrong, basically, in front of the net.
Yeah. And he's always got to those areas. And when you play with elite talent like that and finds you over and over, and you get the confidence going. Like a great example is last game. He was on a 2-on-1, got a puck, and went to take it across the net. And he's just jittery. Like if he hangs on to it, the goalie's sliding out of the crease, but he doesn't have the confidence to show the poise right now.
Yeah. Zeros is crazy, though.
0, 0, 0. That is crazy.
Is there a chance that the Oilers still find a way to not turn this thing around and go back to back on digging themselves out of a poor start?
If you had asked me a week ago, I'd have said no. But gosh, it's kind of going on for a long time here. And I will say part of me last year, you guys know that I didn't waver. I still thought they were a good team. Part of me does have genuine concern about that decor. And then so if Calgary is better than we thought and Vegas is pretty good and LA is kind of not an easy team, and all of a sudden it's like, well, Vancouver's still probably the best team in the division.
Listen to all these. So there's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has yet to score.
Crazy.
Zach Hyman has yet to score.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sam.
Paul Colson's yet to score. Victor Arvidsson yet to score. What are you supposed to do?
No, not helpful. We have.
Good, BD.
All right, let's welcome him in. Hall of Famer, a guy that knows a thing or two about a NHL power play and can explain to us why world-class talent on Edmonton and Toronto can find themselves amongst the bottom feeders of a power play. Adam, how are you, pal? Thanks for joining us.
I'm good, bud. How are you?
Okay, so the heck's going on in Edmonton and Toronto that the best shooters on the planet can't find the back of a net?
Well, I'm sure you guys were talking about it before it came on. So what were you guys saying?
Wait till Oates comes on.
Yes,
He'll have
that's what we
answers.
said. We said,
Didn't expect that, did you?
the only way we get in the Hall of Fame is if we buy a ticket. That's what we said. When you watch it, what's the first thing that kind of stands out to you? Like for me, and I've watched enough of Tampa, we all have, when those guys are humming, and that's another one that's out of the gate slow this year. It's almost as if they know where the puck's going like 3 seconds before they even get it. And then others seem to be making their decision after it is on their stick. And that's the thing that stands out to me is the pure movement of a power play.
Honestly, there's a lot of reasons. Number one, it's early in the season. I would say teams have changed coaches. Sometimes that happens. And the other obvious one is teams change players. So the team that's in my mind is Nashville, because obviously you bring in Stammer, you bring in Marchand, two great players, two power play players, but then they have to change the makeup of the power play that they had. So now you're asking Philip Forsberg to do something a little different. You're asking Roman Josi to do something a little different. You're asking Ryan O'Reilly to do something different. So you got five guys that are elite players, and they haven't quite found the chemistry yet as to how it's going to work. And you know what? It's not quite as easy as people think, because you got right-handed, left-handed guys playing different positions. Certain guys play different roles now, where obviously a guy like Stammer is going to, play his role. He's going to go to his spot and be a shooter. But now you're asking Philip Forsberg to do something a little different. And now Roman Josi's left-handed, getting the puck at a different time than he's used to. So that takes some time to figure that out. And you're asking Marchand to play a different spot. So with a lot of teams, sometimes one little tiny nuance can affect some success for a while until they figure it out.
So how often or how important do you feel having a big shot in the power play is? Like I look at Tampa Bay's power play, feels like a little less threatening without Stamkos there. And so you can kind of cheat towards the other options a bit more. And all of a sudden they're having a bit of a tough year. Toronto's another example where Matthews doesn't hit the one-timer. They don't have a one-timer up top, and their power play seems to suffer from not having that big shot option.
I think power plays suffer from everything you're talking about and more. So like Tampa the other night against New Jersey, Nikita Kucherov was on the other side of the ice. where last year he get 45 or 55 points in the power play, and they were number 1.
Right.
So you had the number 1 power play in the league, and in 6 games, you've already changed guys' positions. So what does that tell you? That tell you that they can't figure it out. They're missing Stammer. They have tried a few games with a couple righties there, but they also brought in Gensel and paid him $9.5 million. So he wants to be on the power play, and I mean the first unit. So now we have to put that square peg in the round hole. So now we've moved Cooch to the other side of the ice, and we're trying to figure that out. And you know what? That's very difficult. It's difficult for the coaches and difficult for the players, because Cooch has played the half wall on his side of the ice his whole career. So it's like Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady knows his options.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now he's got to go through a whole new set of options, and that takes time sometimes. And you know what? I would say when I look at Edmonton, for me, when they're running their power play the best, Connor's coming downhill on his left side, and Nugent Hopkins is in the slot, and Draisaitl is on his one-timer side in that little hole that he's fantastic at sitting at. They do have Bouchard for a bomb when it comes from the other way, but generally it starts on Connor's side. So, like, depending on how the coach wants to coach it and talk about it, and how the team kills against them, those 5 guys should have the answer by now. So to me, they're being a little sloppy, I guess would be my answer.
Oh, so it's Nugent Hopkins, it's Zach Hyman, it's Evan Bouchard that's been taken off the top unit. Is that a good thing? We just sat here moments ago and said, I kind of like it because it shows that you're proactive here. You're not waiting around. Is there a chance that you've embarrassed your players or that you could lose your players temporarily?
I would say embarrass them might be the reason they're doing it. Lose them. Yeah, you can lose guys. I don't think you're going to lose guys that fast, of course, but like they have egos. They'll be upset. We went to Game 7 in the finals, and you're obviously blaming us right now. In 6 games, you're blaming us. So to me, that is a message that I wouldn't like as a player. I think 2 units is a joke myself. I always have, because let's see, the game's 3-3 with a minute left in the game, and we get a power play. Connor McDavid's not on the ice. Zach Hyman's not going to be on the ice with a minute to go.
Yeah.
Right? Well, guess what? If I'm not on the ice, I'm calling my agent after the game going, get me out of here. Aren't you?
Wow,
We're
listen,
pro, right?
you're paying a guy $13 million for these moments. You got to.
Yes.
He's not leaving the ice unless
Correct.
he's pulled off.
Correct. So we don't have 2 units because guess what? Everybody knows. Kyper, there's a minute left in the game.
Yeah.
Mark Messier is on the ice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, with one leg over the boards, even though it's a penalty now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Looking
Mess,
at coach.
hey, Mess, we're going to start the 2nd unit this time.
Yes.
No, we're not.
Yeah. Actually, we're gonna. Yeah. You start in the first unit on a different team after that.
Yeah.
We're gonna skip around a little bit because we have lots to ask you about. We had someone text in Oatsy and say, ask him about how he prepared his stick for games. So I looked up your hockey stick, and strange. Did you shave the toe down? Was the shape of that Sherwood blade?
So what happened was I went to St. Louis and played with Brett, and Bobby Hull taught Brett how to shave the bottom of his toe. And so of course I started doing it because Bobby Hull said it.
Yeah.
And actually I liked it because when the puck gets close to the dasher and you're getting close to the dasher or the boards, you have to climb up a little bit. Yeah, so you do that. So you have to climb up. So it would give my stick just a little bit more bite on the puck for fast touches. So I really enjoyed that. And then second half of my career, I hurt my hand. So I ended up cutting the blade down a little bit just because I hurt my hand and I lost a little bit of movement in my hand. But in terms of cutting the blade or shaving the blade, absolutely.
So is that what Stammer has to do? Maybe do a little shaving in Nashville. You also found yourself on a few teams. The majority of your career was with Detroit, Washington, and Boston. Is there still like a headspace for Stammer to go through that transition? Is it better for him to have done it in the offseason opposed to getting traded, which obviously happened to you as well? Is some of that going on with Stammer and just Nashville in general with so many new bodies?
I would say yes. My first trade, I was in Detroit, and I got traded in the summer, and it broke my heart. It did. I loved it there. I didn't quite understand it because I was still a young guy getting better as a player, but they decided to make a decision. So it did break my heart for a while. And I'm sure Stammer is sort of going through the same thing. I'm sure he thought he was going to be a lifer there. You win 2 cups. I mean, what he's done, what he's accomplished for them, the guys he's played with. So I'm sure he's shocked as to how it went down. And I'm sure there's going to be a little transition as to him fighting through that. And also, I think they have added bodies. And then the hockey part, chemistry-wise, sometimes it does take time, for sure.
Talking about guys with big shots, Alex Ovechkin now 40 goals away from the all-time goal record. You obviously know him up close and personal. What are your thoughts on him right now, how he's playing, how he looks, and that sort of inevitable chase at this point?
Is all 40 going to be empty netters from here on in?
Yes, I think so.
2-minute end of game shifts every game.
Well, just so you know, I texted him this morning. I go, another empty netter? He already wrote me back.
I never saw his feet move faster in the last 6 months.
Flying out there.
Well, we all move fast with the empty netter. that was actually a pretty nice backhand by him.
Yeah. It was.
But yeah, you know what? He's obviously he's going to really live off PP and outnumbered situations because you know what, the team is what it is, and obviously he wants to score goals. So I think he's going to be out there for the empty netter.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Oh, so we don't see the big Scott Stevens hits quite like we have in the past, but there's one guy out there that's doing them as well as anybody in the history of the game, and that is Trouba. Now, you work with multiple players, in the last little while. When you see a hit like that, and Barron hopefully is doing well, he's okay, but what do you say to a client when he's just in the trolley tracks there and he just cannot figure out that he's got to have his head up?
Well, just so you know, I've already sent the clip out. I've already had 50, 60 responses. Anytime I get a new client, whether it's a young kid or a pro player, the first thing I would tell the parents is, I am going to save your son or daughter a concussion. That is a priority for me. His safety matters. When you watch that particular clip, first of all, it's 4-on-4. There's 2 less bodies on the ice. So that's 1 less guy you had to pick up, right?
Right.
Second of all, he got the puck inside his own circle. Where'd he get hit?
Yeah, far blue line.
Inside the far blue line.
Yes, inside the far blue line.
So he skated that puck through the whole neutral zone and didn't pick up Jacob Trouba. And Kyper, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you ask the guys what I've already sent them, it breaks my heart, man. It does, because I don't like seeing guys get hurt. I don't. But if you actually watch the clip, he lost the puck twice. He lost the puck twice going through the neutral zone.
Yeah.
So what I would tell everybody, when you bobble the puck, when you lose the puck, it breaks your concentration. And the whole world now knows, because we all drive a car, and every time we see someone looking at their phone in the car,
it doesn't
breaks
take
your
much.
Concentration.
Mm-hmm.
We all do it, every single person. If you didn't see it, you're lying. Because everywhere I go, people are driving the car, and you see this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you see that, don't you?
Yes.
Because they get startled. Right? You're not allowed. You have to learn how to carry the puck. You have to. If you can't carry the puck, you can't look around
with your head up.
Concentration.
Yeah, with your head up.
Yeah, like he had the whole zone to pick up Trouba, didn't he?
For sure.
Oh.
And I think he would have known he was there. He just would not have anticipated getting hit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like that's 100% clean hit.
Yeah.
That's 0 dirty. Anybody who says it's dirty, no. That is on the player.
The other one that bothered me a lot, and I hated seeing it because I am really pulling for him, is Patrick Laine. And, I see him as a shooter, no different than Ovi. And he's just cannot stay healthy. But I'm watching again him. I don't know if you remember the exhibition game where one of the Leafs hit him there, but I'm watching him go through the neutral zone, same thing. And it's like, at the end of the day, I don't want that guy going 1,000 miles through the neutral zone. I want you to be ready like Ovi's been throughout his career, just ready to shoot the puck. But I don't know what it is about these kids. And it's like, you want to come through the middle of the ice. In our day, we had 20, 40 Jacob Trubas, not just one in the league now. And it was like, you're going to get hurt if you don't know what the hell you're doing coming through the neutral zone 1,000 miles an hour.
That's a fact. I mean, it's a fact. Hey, listen, I'm not gonna lie. It's stuff that we work on all summer. It really is. We work on controlling a puck. We work on blind spots. You have to understand when you're turning into a blind spot. Mm-hmm. You have to. You're getting a pass from a player, and you have to turn the other direction. You have to learn how to do that. That particular one last night, and Linnaeus, they didn't have to do that. They were looking north. So that's more of a controlling the puck situation so that you can move. You can move left or right. Connor Bedard last year when he broke his jaw. Same thing, right? So to me, if you watch that one, Connor Bedard's, he bobbled the puck. Mm-hmm. Clean hit. As he started to zigzag, he bobbled the puck. You are not allowed to bobble the puck in the NHL. I'm sorry. You know what? The defensive guys are in good position too, right? And you know what? You have to look in certain directions. If you're going down the left boards, where are you looking? You're looking to your right. And if you can't do it, you better learn how.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Does this go back to maybe some of the players feeling a little bit more relaxed because of the stop signs on the jerseys, or we've just gone so far out of the way to kind of sanitize a lot of stuff? I mean, are they a little bit more relaxed out there today than they were when we played, Oatsy?
You know what? I mean, the game is not as violent. That's a fact. There's no slashing. There's no cross-checking. It's not as violent. That's a fact. So I would say that, yes, you and I were more on guard.
Yes.
For sure. I can remember a few years ago, Teddy Purcell works with us, and I remember doing one of our drills, and I looked at Teddy because I'm shocked, Kyper, sometimes of what the kids do. And I look at Teddy and I go, I just don't understand how they're not looking where they're going. And he just said, well, we didn't have contact for 8 years.
Yeah, right.
So now kids don't have contact till they're 14. So they got 8 years of development, and it's sort of incorrect development.
Interesting.
I don't want a 7-year-old to be hurt. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, a 7-year-old has to look where he's going.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You watch the girls' hockey. They're very talented athletes, and they're all runaway trains. Every one of them. Because in their game, their mind, they think there's no contact. So they escape. Mm-hmm. And they run into each other. Because they don't think like that. They don't think like us. They're cutting across the middle. Well, there's someone on the other side. They don't think like that.
Interesting.
So it's on our priority every single day in the summer. One of the first warm-up drills has something to do with this subject.
That's fascinating. The one guy who stands out to me, we talked about another Montreal Canadian D, Lane Hutson. I'm curious to get your impressions of him so far. Obviously, super skilled guy, and we had quite the conversation about him yesterday.
And for the record, OC, I said I've gone on record that if I played with a defenseman like that, I'd go batty.
Because?
Just because first of all, I don't know whether he's going left or right. There's zero predictability. I don't know if he's going to just skate the whole thing. I don't know whether or not to get open for him or get the hell out of the way.
I mean, yeah. I see the same thing. He's a very talented young man that is being thrown into the lion's den, and they're letting him develop on his own, which can be good and bad. It can be good. There's some things he does that everybody kind of goes, wow. And there's some things he does, everybody kind of goes, oh, wow. Right. So, to your point, Marty's a fantastic man, fantastic coach. And I'm sure Marty is seeing the same thing and trying to figure out the best way to teach him as he goes along.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Just one question on him, because, here's a guy that's got 9 games under his belt. He's played 24 minutes the other night. and I don't know if he weighs $160.
162.
And I'm just saying, like, is there a chance that you could hurt the guy's development on some mistakes, or is it all a positive learning experience even when he does turn the puck over like he did the other night?
Yeah, you know what? I think you could look at that both ways. You could. If I picture myself at that age, game 9, I was a deer in headlights. I was. The game is so fast. Do I think I could have maybe got through it? Yeah, maybe. I think they're probably thinking the same stuff, Kyper. They're probably trying to decide, like, do we keep it going like this? Do we take a step back? Do we reduce his ice time? And they're smart people there. They know what they're doing. And I think every team thinks like that all the time about all their young guys. Do we throw them in the lion's den, or do we bring them along slowly? And I don't think there is a perfect formula. They don't. I think it depends on the player.
Yeah.
But clearly, you don't want to let it regress too bad.
Oatsy, great stuff, man. Welcome back to our show. We'll be leaning on you a few times this year, okay?
Yeah, I love it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Oatsy. Appreciate it.
Hall of Famer, Adam Oates.
He's got some unique insights.
1,000 assists. And maybe probably like 400 on the power play.
Yeah. A guy who's got a pretty good sense for it. And reading him is like reading Lane Hudson. Never sure. Are we done? Are we good?
What?
He's always got more thoughts.
You can't, it's the NHL. You can't bobble the puck. Yeah, it's easy as for Adam Oates to say.
Well, and also, so what do you do when you do?
You just got to bail out on it. But, it's true. It's something you never think of, that if you go back, I'd be fascinated to do this, maybe some homework. Go look at, the biggest top 10 hits of all time in the NHL and watch how many of the guys bobbled beforehand. Yeah. Because you're right, it takes you right out of what you're thinking about.
Texting is an insanely perfect analogy.
Texting is, yes.
It is the 1 second
which none of us have ever done.
No, obviously not.
No, never once.
But had you done it,
yes,
you could imagine what it would be like.
Of course. By the way, I wanted to give a shout out. Jim in Mississauga was the guy who texted in for the the blade.
And by the way, it's just not the phone. It's like everything in your car today.
Now it's
I got now a movie screen for a display where I'm like, this thing does 1,000 things.
Well, not all of us drive the newest Mercedes.
Yeah, wow. Kip's like, the massage isn't it? The lower lumbar massage is off. How do I?
That's right.
Oh my God.
Stop making the car so nice.
Too much going on, man.
No, but it's fascinating. I'm actually going to do that tonight. Well, I'm going to watch the Leafs game tonight, but maybe when I'm in bed, I'm going to watch some hits and see how many bobbles happen beforehand. Game time?
All right. Let her rip.
Time of the game.
Okay. Let me pick out my sheet here. It's game time. I don't know. Don't ask if I haven't. I haven't.
I'm not interrupting you.
Okay.
Go.
Good. I can't keep my blinders on. It's game time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds to find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. What were you going to say, Kyper? Why do I not have it memorized yet?
No. I was just going to.
Actually, a valid question.
Very fair. Yeah. I was actually in a high school play.
I'm going to let you finish because I was just guessing on where you might go with this.
I was in a high school play, Fiddler on the Roof.
Stunning development. I did not see that coming.
I was the villain in it. And when we were doing our first showing for all the kids or whatever before we showed it to the 10 people that bought tickets, I was in the middle of the first line I had. I went out there and I was like, line. The very first line I went to have ever doing this play, I yelled line.
I can't even begin to picture you as an actor.
Well, I'm acting like I still like the Leafs in this show. So, anyways, so what I have for Bet365 tonight, anytime goal Jordan Kyrou is one you have to do, plus 200 against the Leafs.
No, he's going to be he's a puddle in front of his old coach.
I don't think so.
He's not getting it.
He's a local guy, right? He's a Toronto guy. He's coming home out it's the perfect storm of a guy scoring a goal. Local guy on a Western Conference team coming to Toronto, playing great, old coach, goal for Jordan Kyrou tonight, plus 200.
Can you imagine the chirping tonight that guy's going to get over,
who, from the Leafs?
Why not?
Sure.
I'd be all
Back-
over him.
back
You
your
know,
coach.
yeah. You're gonna cry when you see your coach.
Oh,
Or you're
I
gonna...
mean, but yeah, who's saying that? Matthews? That's to be like, did you see the Balenciaga
All
fall drop?
domey, baby.
San Jose Sharks are in LA to take on the Kings. The Sharks got to win a game eventually, right?
No,
No?
they're terrible. So bad.
They're not going to win one game all
Sammy
year?
made a great point. Who was it that just waived Sheary?
The-
Tom
Bay?
Sherry.
Tampa.
Yeah, they waived him $2 million or whatever. Like, can San Jose just get more NHL guys?
They stink.
Like you're still going to lose most of the time.
Having
All
said
the-
that, they got to win eventually. So maybe tonight's the night.
I
Plus
don't know.
260.
If they think they're gonna stink, then try to get a first pick overall.
But can't you help out Will
It's
Smith
re-
and Celebrini and
Really weird that we now know going into game one who's really gonna stink this year.
that's why the old gold plan where you can forfeit and just start trying to win points is makes some sense. That Wallman though from Detroit that they got has actually been good for San Jose.
Yeah.
He's been a positive player.
Two more quick
Shockingly.
things here for you. Devils in Detroit to take on the Wings. Devils getting Luke Hughes and Pesci back tonight.
Ooh, he
I
was
think-
Pesci back.
I think Detroit sucks. So give me I'm going to lay the juice with the Devils minus 170. Think they're a way better team. Think they're going to win that game. And the last one I have is from Thursday Night Football, the return of Cooper Kupp tonight for the Los Angeles Rams. Give me a Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown at plus 120. And that was Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
The Devils' D has not been good so far this season, but how about Dylan Hamilton, Siegenthaler Pesci,
Dougie Hamilton?
Brendan Dillon, and Dougie Hamilton, Siegenthaler Pesci, Hughes Nemec.
That's good.
Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Okay, let's take a quick break. Plenty still to get into, including a little bit more on the Edmonton Oilers struggling power play 2 for 19. We got some thoughts from head coach Knobloch on that.
Great Marchand clip, too.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Marchand commenting on Montgomery giving him the business. That and more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365 as we close out this segment with a little news and notes.
Kippy, I got a text. Somebody, it's regarding you. They said, ask Kyper about his upcoming appearance on Dragon's Den. That jacket.
It's a great look.
You do look like you and Jimmy. You and Jim Treliving could be on
Really?
Dragon's Den. Oh, yeah. You look good, buddy. I'm not chirping you. Like, you look like $1 million. I feel like an idiot. I wear a sweater and a hat, and this guy comes in looking like Jacques Cousteau.
I wish my pockets.
Jacques Cousteau?
I wish my pockets were as filled with like
Tree
Jim's.
Living's money, yeah.
Pizza
with his
money? Pizza money?
With
Oh,
pizza
yeah,
money.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah,
Empty.
Thanks for watching, by the way, Jim.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
Anyways, I thought it was a good one to bring
Okay,
up.
couple of news and notes to hit on. The first one I want to talk about is Brad Marchand.
Okay.
So recently in the game, I forget who their Bruins are playing, but he's the captain of the team, takes the puck up the wall in the offensive zone, tries to cut it to the middle on like 4 guys. Brutal turnover, odd man rush the other way, they get scored on. Monty comes down the bench and
Gives it to him.
like a coach does when an offensive zone turnover leads to a goal against. Like that's what happens.
Okay. Can I just stop you for a second? It doesn't happen very often when it's a guy of that stature. That was to me, that's a bit of a ballsy call by Montgomery.
I
It's
think
not. Coaches are scared to go after their best players or their captain on the bench like that. And I give him full credit, and I'll give Marchand even more credit because he could have taken it a few different ways, but he said the exact right thing.
Yeah, let's go ahead and listen to the Marchand clip, then we'll carry on.
Yeah, I mean, people are very sensitive these days, and there's a lot of it's unfortunate how coaches are scrutinized over things like that. There's a lack of accountability nowadays because people can't handle the heat, and you make a mistake like that, you deserve to hear about it. I'm glad that he said something about it. If he didn't, we would have a much bigger issue. So, that the fact that that's something that we're talking about is, it's disappointing, but that's the way things are today.
God, Why is he such a beauty?
That's the C. That's I mean, intelligent answer to this. That, we expect that sort of thing. It'd be worse if he didn't say something.
Yeah,
that's a really mature answer.
That's the accountability of being a leader.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you right now,
Sammy hates it. He wants him to be a scumbag.
I am
Listen,
telling
if he
you,
signs the lease next year, I'll be wearing
that
a jersey.
would have been easy 20, 30, 40 years ago. But today, coaches, they don't want to pick a fight and they don't want to go down the path because they will lose against top players.
Higher paid, more, bigger names than them. But often I think, Kip, they don't to captains because they know their captain knows. Marchand knows to not turn the puck over in the offensive zone, to not make a risky play high in the zone. He made a mistake that he surely went to the bench and went, I know that's not the spot.
But it's still in the moment, like for a player.
It's for everyone else.
To watch that.
That's a good point.
It's totally for everyone else, too, at that moment. And it's a natural. I don't even think he thought about it. It was just a very natural thing for Montgomery to do. But my thought as a player that's listening to this is if he's saying this to Brad Marchand, what would he ever say to me? Mm-hmm. And that just triples down on the fact that I cannot make that mistake and I cannot put my team in a vulnerable position or else this guy, like I'm done. Like if he's saying that to the captain, then I'm traded or waived or sent down tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to hold your whole team at a high standard.
You know what's interesting is I think there's the risk if you're the coach of doing that to a captain and to your point earlier, the captain being like, what do you like screw you and damaging that relationship in some way. And that can be the beginning of the end for a coach. I have seen in my experience, coaches call the captain in and have sort of an agreement and say, if something comes up, I want to be able to use you as sort of as an example.
Yeah, that was way over beyond that.
That one was
right?
for sure. But I think you do have to have an understanding that, like, hey, we have a great relationship, but I need to be able to speak up.
Yeah.
You
but
know.
it can't. I mean, it
can't
happen again. Put it that way.
Didn't you have a story about a coach saying a mess, like, I'm going to, give it to you or something to that effect? Because I know that sometimes captains and coaches will have relationships where it's like they're mutually teaching the
I
team.
didn't see it.
Maybe it's not
I
you.
didn't see it with Mark.
Okay.
It happens. It's rare.
Mm-hmm.
It is really rare. But, you got to also think at that point, there was a lot of pent-up frustration already with the Boston Bruins. A lot of things not going right with this hockey club right now. And they're feeling it as well. They're supposed to be sitting at the top of the Atlantic Division. They're right in the mix with everybody else.
Sure, 3-3-1, minus 3 goal differential.
Not very good.
Not very good.
Not scoring key goals. Marchand has struggled a little bit, guys, in the last little while here. He's not quite the same player that he was a year and a half, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Is he at 37?
Yeah, around
36, 37. Maybe. Is he starting to slow down a little bit too? He was never
worry for Team Canada is one of the guys we already named.
Never speed was his game, but even with those type of guys, and we're watching it with John Tavares here, who's I think 2 or 3 years younger than him. Like when you were never blessed with speed,
right?
When you lose in your 30s,
particularly
3-5%, it's a big deal.
Particularly for a smaller guy who wasn't relying on physicality either. I know that Brad Marchand is physical, but not he's not an imposing figure who holds guys off with an arm. Like it's hard. Yeah, with those dimensions. Perhaps the most underpaid player in NHL history.
Yeah.
He's like on year whatever, making $6 million.
And now he's like in his contract year and he's having the worst year of his career and probably not going to get nearly as much as he's
No goals in 7 games.
Is that what he's at? It's not very many at all.
4 assists. That's what he's got, -3. So
and they have coming to town tonight. They play the Dallas Stars, who you can argue might be the best team in the league, and then they have the Maple Leafs on Saturday night. Which, whatever you think of them, not a bad team.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah,
the one thing about the Bruins and Lindholm's not fast.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look. They look old and slow.
Yeah, Lindholm. That's true. They added him, and he's Exactly. What's funny is right now, Mike Kelly had a great tweet. There's 3 lines in the NHL who have been on the ice for at least 5 goals for and 0 against. They're not the lines you think they would be. One of them is the Boston Bruins line of Beecher, Kastelik, and Koepke, who are the best in the NHL. 8 goals for, 0 against.
That's a good run.
For their 4th line. Cooley, Hedel, and Kakko for the Rangers are 7-0. Niederreiter, Lowry, and Appleton are 5-0. 3 lines in the whole league. That line is.
Yeah, that's a good hockey.
I mean, it's a perfect hockey line.
Yeah, it's really good.
You want to listen to Knobloch?
Well, I was going to say, I was just mentioning coming off the Marchand thing about the first 6 guys that are named for Team Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's Sid, McKinnon, McCarr, McDavid, Braden Point, and Brad Marchand.
Brad Marchand's going to be just fine. They're going to put him with Sid.
Well, he'll be fine there. But it's just...
They'll create that same magic they had in 2016.
Is Patrice Bergeron going to be there too playing?
No.
Is Patrice Bergeron in his prime going to be there?
Hey, I know you love jersey talk. You saw the release of the jerseys. What do we think of the jerseys?
I should have got him a picture to put up on the screen for people watching. Should have done that. That was my bad. But I love it.
You like Canada's?
I love it.
Yeah.
I do. I
like them all except the U.S. ones. Meh.
I think...
Well, it's a pretty standard USA.
But like with nothing on the shoulders. There we go. We got the jerseys up. Great
look
job.
At that. Look at that.
Yeah,
if
the
you're watching
USA
on,
one's
TV.
not great. Canada's with black helmet, black pants. You said, Sammy, I think on Twitter.
Traditional Swedish one. I see Borja Salming there wearing that jersey.
Swedish one is about the only sweater I like without anything on the shoulder caps. That looks really sharp. And the Finnish one's really nice.
I just got to say that there has been a lot of wheel reinvention when it comes to Canada jerseys.
Yeah.
And this one just feels a little bit more traditional. Like it's just got a nice leaf. I like the Canada on there. The colors are nice.
I don't need the Canada smiley face, but
you don't like that?
Nah,
no, I like it.
Just complicated. We know who it is.
Yeah, that's true. Can I say something about Matthews wearing the USA thing?
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's people have talked a lot about, we need best on best. We need best on best. This is a major consequence for a lot of Leaf fans.
You're afraid of him?
It's good. There haven't been a ton of huge moments with Austin Matthews. He scored a ton of regular season goals. He's been brilliant in the regular season. Had a couple of big ones in the playoffs. Like you think of the one against Boston last year, against Tampa to tie it.
You're reaching now.
Yeah, they're not big moments.
It's coming.
Saturday night, Canada, USA in this tournament that people say doesn't matter. If he has like the OT winner or something and perceived his biggest moment of his career
being
against Canada and all of his fans, there is a chance for a
the made-up event with all the teams.
It's an exhibition series.
Yeah, okay,
Kippy.
Kippy.
See it that way,
Kippy, you can say that right now. That's something.
All that matters to me is the Olympics. That's it.
But the Olympics is also an exhibition that we've just decided to place importance on, and people will place importance on this.
I'm not taking that away. But at the end of the day, I don't really care who wins this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't?
No.
Oh, my God.
No.
I do.
No. There's no Russia. There's no... it's
the Czechs won the World Championship and they're not involved.
There's really good players and there's really still countries that could compete that aren't there. This is a warm-up, Sammy.
Okay, still.
Okay?
That's
all.
It's
fine.
All he's saying is when Matthews rips one over Binnington's shoulder with 2 minutes left.
But 20, 30 years from now, it's not going to be a moment.
You don't think?
No.
I think there's potential.
Was the World Cup in 2016 here in Toronto?
No, but Canada also beat Team Europe in the final. So
Team Europe and Young Guns.
Yeah, that was always hokey. It was hokey from the start. We all knew it.
Okay, but this one's hokey too because there's only 4 teams in this tournament.
Teams and pretty much the best 4.
Sorry, they're the 4 best teams. They're the 4 best teams.
Okay. Russia would be.
Yeah, I'd pick any of those teams over Russia.
Yeah,
I would.
Russia's
good. Don't get me wrong. They got some good players. But I would choose those 4 teams over.
Fine. But, you don't have to be in a puddle if Austin scores a winning goal.
I'm just saying that the perception of Austin Matthews in this market, people like him, but there's also the lack of success that hangs over his head. If Marner's really good for Canada, could do wonders for him. If Matthews is really good for USA, could do the opposite.
People be mad at him for
Yeah.
hurting our feelings.
Listen, during the 2014 Olympics,
You loved Matt Sundin. You can love someone
Different.
from another country.
completely different. USA. And
So you don't respect Sweden.
I love Sweden. I love Sweden.
You just don't
I,
think they're good at hockey.
I don't know. I don't have the like. I don't want to say this
You-
because I have more like respect. I don't know. It's hard to explain. USA,
So, to
Canada
be
is the
clear,
biggest.
on your opinion, you respect Swedish people more than Americans.
Oh my God. No, but it's going to be, I think once it gets here, it's going to be way bigger than people are making it seem right now, is my final thing.
I wrote an article today for the Toronto Star. In it, I do a few NHL news and notes as well. I talked about Sam Bennett. Elliot, I think, reported that they are talking about a contract in Florida, but everything I hear, like, not close.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some distance between what I think Sam thinks he's worth and what I think Florida's prepared to pay him. So this one will be interesting.
What is tough is, they're starting to have to pay the people they won the cup with.
Yes.
And once you've paid other people,
Yes.
it's like we don't have infinite money, even with the tax help.
So the most recent, Sam Reinhart at over $8 million.
Yeah.
Verhaeghe at $7 million. Where would you guys have Sam Bennett?
I don't think Bennett is any less important to them than Verhaeghe. And I bet they're saying, but goals. And he's saying, but everything else.
But running guys through the wall.
Yeah. That, to me, the perception of what makes Florida Florida is actually his identity, even more than Matthew Tkachuk or whatever. I think of Sam Bennett because he's the guy who is the bone crusher.
He's an absolute nail gun.
Yeah.
Like when I watch them, I'm like, oh, please don't hurt one of the Leaf stars. Like he's just the guy you fear. Scores
And
big
that's where
goals.
He would be
Florida's
interesting.
Flora?
He'd be interesting if he gets to July 1st.
Do you think there's potential for that?
I think someone would grossly overpay him and regret it
For sure.
because they'd be very excited to get Sam Bennett, which you should be.
Maybe Brad Treliving that traded him away for a third-round pick would be that guy.
Well, if you go by your Theodore theory
Yes.
about taxes and
Yeah.
all that, then what would a Canadian team have to get to?
$11.5 million probably.
Oh, that's not happening.
Okay.
Just stop that.
I don't know, like 8 probably.
Yeah.
That's a
9.
disgusting number.
9 is
Well,
nuts.
7. You had just had Theodore at
Yeah, but Shea Theodore
$2
is
million difference. You
I
just
think
told me earlier
yeah.
in the show.
But Shea Theodore is a better player, I think,
Yes.
than Sam Bennett. Different, no question, but
Yeah, different.
different guys. Apples and oranges. Anyways, I would like him to be here. That'd be nice.
All right.
All right. We got a couple other things to listen to.
Do we?
Yeah, we got Arbor Jackeye, and
Oh,
we have
yeah.
Chuck Knobloch from the Edmonton Oilers on splitting up the units. Do you want to hear that one, Kip, or do you want to hear Jackeye, or you just want to talk to me?
Jackeye.
Jackeye. All right. Arbor Jackeye's clip is on the Trouba hit. Always fun to have him weigh in on that.
I mean, I'm not sure. I think it was. I don't know. It's a tough play. I mean, we're down 5-2, and they're obviously dominating the game a little bit, and throw a hit like that is. I don't know. I didn't really like to see it, and I know I probably would have done something if I was in the lineup or addressed it for sure. But he'll definitely remember it, and we'll see what happens next game.
Yeah, tough spot to be in, but he's going in the right direction in terms of what are you asking me? I don't want to see my player hurt.
But tough
That's
spot
it.
to be in to be Jacob Trouba and hear Arbor Jackeye say, gonna remember it.
Oh, that has to be the case.
You don't have to fight Jackeye for throwing a clean hit.
No, but you want to make a guy nervous.
Jackeye's
think
doing
about
his
it.
job there.
That's all.
By the way, I don't hate Americans.
Yeah, let's get that.
Sammy,
I was painting
I
you in
love
a
the
corner.
fact that you're ready to go on this Four Nations.
I just hate
and I will
America's hockey team.
Yeah, there it
I
is.
promise you, I will get more excited as we get further along.
And we're all watching it on a
Yes.
beach in Cabo. Pardon?
But they're putting you to work.
Oh, yeah. That's
Every
why they sent me
day
to
on
Montreal.
this.
Four Nations Talk with Sam McKee.
Boy, those jerseys are nice. End of show.
Yeah.
Real Sammy for 2 weeks while we go golf somewhere. All right, 9 games on tap tonight. Pick the one you want to watch, and then join us again tomorrow on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show.